Welcome, everyone, to the Purpose for Life podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Roberts, author of It's Deeper Than That. And today I'm so excited to have with me Audrey Faust, author of She Grows Rich. And I am so excited to have Audrey on here today because I've had the opportunity to not only hear about her strategy and excellence and skill level, but I've also had the opportunity to watch her grow into what you're going to get to listen to today, a different way of thinking about wealth, finance, and everything possible for you. So thank you for being here, Audrey.
Thanks, Suzanne. I'm excited to be here and chat with you on your podcast. It's going to be so much fun.
So much fun. What made you decide to write She Grows Rich?
A couple of things. A friend of mine said to me, "Why don't you share your story more about how you grew your wealth?" And I was like, "Me? I don't know." I was just like, "I don't think it's a big deal." But then the more I kind of thought into that and realized that there was one point in my life that we were on the poverty line as a family. And that was my defining moment where I said, this isn't what I want for myself in my life. And I started to make changes. And now I've grown my wealth to multi 7-figure net worth that gets to support me and my family.
I love that. And would you be willing to share with us a little bit about your story and how you began to grow your wealth?
I was in my late 20s with 2 young children. I have a total of 3, but this happened when I just had 2. And I was trying to figure out, because I hadn't gone to college out of school. I ended up going to college later after this moment. And I was trying to figure out how in the heck to support me, 2 children, my husband. I didn't make enough because my boys were just 15 months apart, and putting them in daycare with the administrative work I was doing just didn't make sense. So I started figuring out how I could make some money on the side, which led me to doing tax returns, getting educated on how to do that and doing tax returns. And the first year I did my tax return, I realized that I got what was called an earned income credit, which means I was at the poverty line as a family of 4, or I wouldn't be receiving that earned income credit. We were making, as a couple, $24,000 a year, and that was it. And the government gave us this earned income tax credit because we were on the poverty line, and they try to keep you from going into poverty, right? Going onto the system. So you get an extra credit on your tax return. And when I first calculated the tax return, I was like, oh, wow, like I'm getting a huge refund. What is this? And I was excited. And then I thought, well, maybe I did something wrong. And then I was like, oh, holy crap. Like I'm getting an earned income tax credit. And it made me feel ashamed and embarrassed because I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. Like we grew up in a lower middle class family, paycheck to paycheck family. They weren't making money. They were both working class, but I was taught to stand on my own 2 feet. And I was like, this just isn't what I want for myself. This isn't what I want for my family. And that was my defining moment of, okay, I got to figure something else out. This isn't working.
Nice. And so what did you figure out?
I ended up going back to school, not right away, because I couldn't even afford to go back to school at that point. And I knew I needed to start bringing in some income. So that led me to working at Vanguard Financial Institution, doing their customer service in the evenings. And I was there for about 2 years before I left there and decided to go back to school as my children got a little older and started school and things. So it was the beginning of a change because I was like, okay, this isn't the life I want for my kids, my family. So it took me about 8 or 10 years to get my education. I took a little break in the middle, um, and finished with my accounting degree. So that's where I started, what changed. And I had never gone to college out of high school, even though my parents wanted me to. So I was afraid. I was actually afraid to take the SATs because I had an
Mm.
older brother that belittled me and constantly told me I wasn't smart. And I believed
Interesting.
him. So I was too afraid to go to college, but I knew I had to at that point in my life. I had to figure it out. I had to, and I actually ended up doing well, which is funny. I ended up with 3.8 GPA, and my belief then changed from I wasn't smart enough to if I work hard enough,
Oh,
I can
interesting.
accomplishing anything. So, so it,
Interesting.
it didn't completely go away. It just kind of changed in
It
a little
changed the
bit.
lens. Like you're not going to
Yeah,
have success without hard work,
hard
right?
work. Yeah.
Hard. Interesting. That, so accounting was interesting to you after doing your taxes and understanding how taxes work. Is that what linked you to accounting
Well,
or just because you love math?
I did love math. And what linked me to accounting is I actually took a high school course in accounting. And it was literally the only class in high school that I got, other than math, I got an A in.
Nice.
I struggled in high school. I was at best a C student, but I was in this accounting class. I ended up taking two accounting classes in high school, and I was like getting an A in it. And to me, it was the easiest class I ever took in my life. And people were failing it. And I
I'm
was like,
sure.
I was like, how are these people failing it? Like, this is the easiest class I've ever taken in my life. But with accounting, what I learned is you either get it or you don't get it. It's kind of like,
Right.
and for
Interesting.
whatever reason, I didn't even realize at the time that that was my gift. And I grew into that as an adult.
That's amazing. I think probably in the rest of your classes you were bored rather than you're not
I
smart,
I
honestly.
think right, maybe, or
Probably
I just
you
think I
didn't care.
believed my brother so
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
that like, you know how the brain works. Like
for sure.
if somebody tells you enough times you're stupid, you're going to believe it. So,
And now you're the manifesting CFO. I
right?
love that title for you. And so you went from an accounting degree to multi seven figure wealth. Like, let us
Yes.
just take a moment here. Everyone listening, watching, whichever way you're having access to us, let's just take a moment and celebrate that. And within that, let's talk about a few of the things that you've, you know, created or learned or developed to help you be a manifesting CFO and why you've chosen that title. Well, I think let's start with first. Why have you chosen the title of Manifesting CFO? Let's start there.
I was a secret manifester for years. Because being in the accounting world, it's very logical. And people expect you to be logic and not, as we call, woo, right? Not in the manifesting, not in the woo, not in this other energy. So I was running my accounting business, and I kind of hid that part of me
Mm.
for years. And I worked with a mindset coach myself. I did a lot of transformation. That's kind of when I started getting into this other energy, the woo energy, the energy that's the unseen, right? It's the
Mm.
not logical, the energy you can't prove on paper anyway, like you can with accounting. So, there was two sides of me, Suzanne. There was the accounting CFO side, but then my friends, and well, not even really my family, mostly my friends that were in this world with me, um, were I was doing the woo. I was really interested in the whole spiritual, and I worked with coaches that were more spiritual and things like that. So it was like these two sides of me, which actually doesn't surprise me because I'm a Gemini. So there are two sides to me. And I realized that the universe was pointing me in a new direction. I had this very successful multi-six-figure accounting business, and both of the large clients that I was functioning as their accounting, their CFO, I had a team that was doing their accounting work, and I was their CFO. Both of them sold at the exact same time. And the two of them together were almost multi six figures in retainers for me. And I had been a certified neuro coach for a couple of years now, and I had done coaching, but I never had gone like all in. And I think this was the universe telling me, oh, it's time. Because I could have gone two different ways. I could have continued on and just kept working and doing the accounting business and doing coaching on the side. But something was tugging inside of me. And I was really getting more involved in the spiritual work, the energy work. The woo was really coming out of me. And I decided to take that leap and work with those two clients until they were able to transition to the new ownership, and then step away and just go all in on the coaching. And how the name came to me was literally in the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, I need, how do I combine the financial stuff that I do with the woo and really create something that's totally aligned with who I am and stop hiding the manifesting side?
Yes.
And I literally woke up in the middle of the night with the name, the Manifesting CFO, and I wrote it down and just ran with it.
I love that, Audrey, so much. I hope the listeners are understanding how a process can become evolutionary. And as you know yourself differently and become more of yourself, what's possible. And Audrey, you're such a great example of that for our listeners here today. I really appreciate your bravery and your courage and your honesty here. Yeah, it's a lot. Is that where, when we talk about, wealth energetics and financial strategy, did that emerge out of this combining of the selves?
Yes, it emerged out of combining of what I was really aligned with my genius, right? My genius of understanding the numbers and the strategy behind growing a business. The two businesses that sold were multi seven-figure businesses that I helped grow, one from under seven figures, one from just at seven figures. One of them got an 8-figure deal. So, like, that's the kind of, when you understand your numbers and the financial pieces behind, and how somebody like a CFO behind you and saying, okay, looking at that stuff strategically every single month, that's what gets to happen, is you get to grow your business into something that can sell for 8 figures.
And what would you say wealth energetics is?
Wealth energetics is what I'm embodying now. So I'm bringing in the woo. I'm bringing in tapping, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, where we get all riled up about money. Money is very emotional and it's got a lot of energy that comes with it. And most of it comes from when we were children. We're bringing it from our parents who are bringing it from their parents. So it's generations of beliefs that it's hard to break. So the reason people typically stay, if you're a middle class family, you stay in middle class. If you're a lower class, you stay in lower class. It's hard for you to jump those lines, is because that's what we were brought up. That's what we know. And it's programmed into our subconscious, and it will bring up all kinds of fears, all kinds of beliefs that energetically we're still holding them inside.
Mm.
And by using a technique like tapping, we can release those beliefs. I combine the tapping with my neuro coaching techniques that I use, which one is called brain priming, and I coach based on the neuro techniques that I use. I combine that to get to the problem that's holding you back. And then when we realize we hit that nail on the head, we tap it out. And then not only are you now aware of what's keeping you from building your wealth, growing your business, becoming the next level and the next version of yourself, but you're able to release it energetically as well as mentally.
And that creates possibility.
Yeah. Well, that and allows you to step up into the next level.
Which
Our
you have,
brain loves to keep us safe, right?
right. And in trying to keep us safe, it will hold us back until we become conscious of it and choose something else. And EFT and the other brain neuro practices you have help to make the unconscious conscious and also change the alarm in them so they're not keeping your
Yes.
system alarmed. And that way you have the readiness to fulfill on the goals that you might want for yourself and the possibilities. And, I think I love everything you're saying. I know about EFT and we've had Carol look on here. So people can listen to that episode. But will you talk about the other neuro technique? Because I haven't heard that one and I'd like to know that one for our listeners.
Sure. Well, it's been quite a few years now since I've been certified in neuro coaching, and I've been using the neuro coaching techniques, which is all about reprogramming your subconscious. But it doesn't identify the energy part of it that the tapping does. Reprogramming your subconscious was formed before the age 7. So you have 80,000 thoughts per day, and 95% of them are from your subconscious. And your subconscious was formed before the age of 7. So basically, you have a 7-year-old going around running your life and your business.
Wow. Putting it that way. Okay.
If you think about it when you're young, people say kids are sponges. That's why, because their subconscious is open and it's bringing in all this information so they can learn super quickly, because the subconscious puts things on repetition. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't have to mentally think about, oh, I got to pick up my toothpaste. I got to put, you just do it, right? It's on autopilot. That's your subconscious in work, in action, right? It puts things on autopilot, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, all those simple repetitive tasks. But what also goes in there when you're younger are things like beliefs like you hear your family say, like rich people are mean, evil, greedy. Um, Money doesn't grow on trees. I work hard for my money. That was one I had to reprogram because I heard that from my mom all the time. Anytime I asked for money, she would be like, we work hard for our money. And that meant I couldn't have it.
Or if you had it, you
Because,
were going to have to work really, really hard.
right. So all those beliefs are in our subconscious, and a lot of times we don't even know they're there. And that's how I use my techniques in coaching to bring them out. Then what we do is we reprogram them. And the way to reprogram your subconscious is through repetition. So there are neuro pathways in your brain. Think of them like roads. And you keep walking on them and walking on them. There's going to be a groove, right? So those grooves are there, and you're not going to take one thought and just blow it away. It's in there. It's deep. So you need to constantly reprogram it for another thought. But first, you got to find evidence that that's not true. For instance, let's take rich people are mean or greedy. Media loves to do this as well. They love to project this, which drives me crazy. But anyway, let's say your parents would say that. Maybe You have to find evidence of somebody who's rich, who's not greedy, or who's not mean. Because your brain, your subconscious will say, well, that's not true. Everybody who's rich is greedy and mean, unless you can
Mm.
prove it wrong. So that's the first step of whatever the belief is, finding something to disprove the belief, right? Discredit it. Then you create what I call a brain prime for the new belief. So, and the other thing you got to make sure when you're creating the brain prime is that it's all in the positive. Because if I say to you, don't think of a red car, first thing you think of is a red car. You see that image in your head, right? That's how our brain works. So you need to make
I
sure
see.
there's no don'ts or don't do this or don't, you want to make sure, oh, I want to think of a blue car. So blue car, boom, it's in there. So when
Interesting.
you're creating the brain prime, you also want to make sure that it's all in the positive and it's what you want to start creating a new pathway for. So if I want to start creating a new pathway for making money is easy, that's what I would create. I would say making money is easy and fun, and you
Mm.
add all this stuff to the brain prime to get yourself excited because you want to get emotions in there too. But first, I have to discredit it, not in the brain prime, just in general, and say, well, that's not true. My mom always said, making money was hard. But I can say, well, I see this person over here who doesn't look like they're working at all, and they're making a lot of money. Or, for instance, I had rental properties that brought in a lot of money for me. I didn't have to do a lot of work for them. So that was a way that I disproved that. So you can use somebody else as an example, or you can take an example from your own life. But you just need to make sure that your brain's not going to fight that new belief. And then you listen to it for 10 weeks in an audio format. And that's what I do with my people in my Money Mindset Manifestation Accelerator. We
Will you say
create a
that again? M-
Money Mindset and Manifestation Accelerator is the name of my group program where
wow.
we create a brain prime all around manifesting a certain monthly income level that you want, and you listen to it for 10 weeks. And the other part of the program is the EFT tapping, where we come in twice a month as a group and tap out all those disbeliefs that come up along the way about why you can't make that income or it's impossible, because they keep coming up. And think life happens, right? And things get thrown in our plates, and you're like, oh, you want to throw in the towel. But the great thing about tapping is, like, you can immediately shift your mindset with just one little 5 minutes of tapping, 10 minutes of the tapping from the negative into the positive. And what that does, which maybe Carol had said too, is it takes your brain from I can't do this to I can do it, and think of ways, right? If you're in a fight or flight, like I can't do this, this is crazy, that's when your brain is in fight or flight. It shuts down. You can't think of solutions, you can't think of anything. Your cortisol goes up and all your emotions go crazy. When you tap, it brings your cortisol down, and all of a sudden you see possibilities instead of challenges, and your belief changes. It's crazy how tapping can do a 360 to how you're feeling in a matter of a couple of minutes. So that's why I use both, because those feelings are going to keep coming back unless you reprogram them through the brain. I call it a blueprint in my program. It's called a money mind or a manifestation blueprint. That's what we create. And then you listen to that on every morning. It's like 4 minutes long. When your brain is most susceptible to information, which is when you first wake up or right before you go to sleep. That's when your subconscious mind is open, right when you're shutting down or right when you're waking up. And that allows you to rewire and reprogram those thoughts in your brain so they don't keep coming back.
What I'm struck by in listening to you is that rather than getting out a sheet of paper and looking at like, where are your finances right now? What do you want? Doing X, Y, Z. You're saying, I'm going to include all of you and help you become the best version of yourself so that you are aligned with possibility for what you want for your future and not limited by your historical past. And that we're opening up pathways and gateways for you to be able to manifest and execute, because you are combining both this internal transformation with strategy. So it's this
Yes.
inside out to take action towards your goal, but coming from a different place, because the place we've been coming from, people wouldn't come to you if it was already working.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, so something needs to shift. And also,
If you're already rich, you don't need me.
well, it depends on if they
Well,
need
it's
you
true.
to enjoy their wealth, because
That's true.
I'm just saying they might need you if they need to find a way to enjoy their wealth or change their mindset within that wealth.
Yeah,
I'm just going to add that in there, because what I'm listening to you
100%.
say today, it's really a deeper change in relationship to wealth and money,
Hmm.
whether you have it or don't have it. It's an opportunity to reframe yourself in the relationship to wealth. And that could happen for many different reasons. And people might want to increase their wealth. Who knows?
It's true.
So, I mean, you've increased yours. So
Two things here. A lot of people say, well, I only need so much money or whatever. But if you have more money, you don't have to keep it, right?
right.
You can give it away. If you don't need it, if you have enough, you don't need it, you can give it away. But the great thing is you get to give it away to who and to how you want to see it spent versus leaving that up to somebody else.
I
So
love that.
a lot of people don't think about that. They're like, well, I have enough. I'm fine. That's great, but you could have more so you can now
Serve more.
decide where you
Yeah,
serve more, see where you want it to go. And the
absolutely.
other thing I wanted to say, Suzanne, was one of the reasons I brought this energy work into my work is because I constantly saw, I've been working with money mindset for many years now, and I constantly saw people getting stuck. They can't even open the finances in their business or look at their bank account. They couldn't even take that first step, Suzanne, to start changing their future.
Interesting.
Um, and it was because of all these
Yeah,
energetics that are caught up in their body and their mind. And once you release that, and I saw it happen in my money mindset manifestation accelerator, I saw it happen in real time where somebody was like, wait a minute, like, this hasn't only brought me more joy, more freedom, more abundance. She's like, now I want to go and do my personal finances and get that straightened out.
nice.
So, like, I was just like, yes, this is exactly why I created this.
So, Audrey, that brings us to, what are the calls to action that you have? How can people reach you, work with you? And I know you've talked about your, I call it money magic manifestation. I don't think that's what accelerator, but I don't think those are the exact words, but that's how I'm hearing it, like it's magic.
Money mindset and manifestation accelerator, three
It's
M's,
magical. I'm just saying
three
it's
M's and an A.
magical. All right.
It is.
So, that's a course that you offer, something they can opt in. What are other ways they can work with you?
So there's a free training that I have on my website called three the three-step method to attracting more abundance. And you can go on my website, download that um, video training, and it's got what I call the three steps to manifesting. Your thoughts is the first thing, your energy is the second thing, and your alignment is the third thing. And once you have those three things in I call it dishing the tea. And once you have those three things, then the manifestation just opens up. And that's what I realized when I brought in the real me to my business. Things just fell in line. I had so many people, including you, who would see me in person and say, wow, your energy has really changed and shifted. Right? I can't tell you how many people. And it was because I now became aligned with what I was doing. I brought in the manifesting, I brought in the woo, and I was so excited to do so and not feeling like, and now I own it with the Manifesting CFO is my title, right?
Totally.
I'm
It's
owning
perfect.
it. So
And
yes, you can get
what's your
that training.
website?
So it's audreyfaustconsulting.com.
Perfect. And great. I just want to make sure people have a way to get a hold of you. They can sign up for your course there.
They can get on the wait list if it's not
Okay.
open for the Money
Okay,
Mindset
perfect.
Manifestation Accelerator. They can do the training.
Do you do
the free
individual
training.
coaching with people or not
Yes,
anymore?
I do.
Yes. Okay,
I do.
so I just
Yeah.
want people to know ways they can access you because I'm excited after listening to you here today. I can't imagine our listeners are not as well like, hey, yes, I want that. So it's
Thank
great.
you.
I do like to wind down the podcast with the question, what do you think the purpose for life is?
Well, the first thing that came up, which was kind of funny, because I love going with the first thing, because that's like your intuition, right? It said fun, to have fun, right? That was the first thing that just came up for me. So that's how I'm going to answer it, to have fun. And that means have fun in what you're doing as far as work, life. There's, if you're not having fun, you're not aligned. That's the way I look at it.
I love that. I love that. And relating to money and wealth can be fun, is what I'm hearing from you today. Like we can shift how we are inside of ourselves. Are there any
100%.
lasting things you'd like to leave with our listeners here today?
I'm just going to say, because this just came to me, don't let fear stop you from anything, whether it's looking at your money or your finances, educating yourself. Just replace the word fear with faith and just have faith that opening up the next door, opening up that bank account, uh, opening up your business finance, looking at things, just have faith that you're going to understand and it's going to be okay. And it's the first step. Is just take the first step.
Audrey, I think we have the 3 F's. Let's move fear to faith to fun.
All right. Yeah. I love that.
Isn't that great? New relationship to money and wealth. Move fear to faith to fun.
Fear to faith to fun.
I love that. Thank you so much for being with us here today, Audrey. It's been absolutely wonderful having you here. Thank you, listeners, for joining in. This is the Purpose for Life podcast. We're signing off. I'm Suzanne Roberts.